everyone. Jacob,
Can you see me now?
I can see you. I can hear you.
There we are.
You are here. We are here. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Do we got ourselves a Christmas layout?
We're in
A holiday layout?
Wonderland.
Man, I
that?
love this overlay. Winter Wonderland for sure.
Yeah, so this is episode number 19 of Sports Talk Live, guys. Thank you for coming back and sticking with us. I've had a great time doing it this year. I think Jacob has too.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
with that, I mean, it is December 18th. The NBA starts in 4 days. So that's pretty crazy. I feel like it just ended and we're already getting back into the season.
It did just end. That's the thing. It did just end. And that was a huge problem for a lot of the players originally. You know, it was a concern. You know, the season just ended and they're already about to go back into training camp, you know. But for time's sake and in order to get the league back on track next year, they had to do it. And honestly, I'm not mad at them. I love me some basketball. These guys get paid a lot of money. They have personal trainers and all this, that. Like, I get it. You need some time to recuperate, but you can afford the treatment.
If you really think about it, the lack of rest only affects 4 to 6 teams, maybe 8 that went deep in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Everyone else has been off for quite some time. They're rested up. So, yes, does it suck for the top teams? Yes, but they're the top teams. They're going to overcome it. There's a reason they're a top team.
Exactly. It's a reason they're there. And if they can't overcome it, maybe they shouldn't be a top team.
Ooh, we'll see. We'll see who's the true top teams and who maybe aren't this year. There's a lot of crazy things going on this year. I know I watched. They got 3 preseason games, right? Am I correct in saying that?
For NBA, we're talking, correct?
Yeah, for NBA.
You know, I missed the exact number, but it was low, something low like that.
Okay, I think they had 3 preseason games. I watched the Warriors. They played the Nuggets once, the Kings twice. One thing I thought was interesting is like how they played the Kings twice in Sacramento, and they were talking about how you're going to see a lot of that this year, where they'll kind of minimize traveling when they go places.
Mm-hmm.
You see them play those back-to-back games in one town.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Warriors schedule at one moment when they go to Texas, they play Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio all while they're out there. It's like one road trip, and they just hit all those games back to back. So they're in Texas for like a week straight. And I mean, it makes sense for a logistical thing for traveling, especially you want to cut down with everything going on in the world right now. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, considering the circumstances that we're all in now, and I think it's wise for the league to do it that way. You want to minimize as much exposure as you can, and putting players on planes constantly doesn't help that. So keeping them within their regions, and now more than likely they're probably going to have to be busing to a lot of different areas and parts. Like for instance, that Texas trip, they're probably going to take a team bus through those cities. I would be surprised to see that, to find out that they flew to each individual one, but the players aren't going to be too happy about going on bus, but who knows?
Everywhere.
I can't say for sure. I'm not NBA,
I think they are.
But I don't know. The whole point, the whole purpose is to minimize how the length and travel, minimize exposure, and then having to get on planes is part of that. So
yeah, I mean, but the MLB and the NFL both use planes, both be traveling. I think the NBA in the position they're in, they kind of could sit back and watch what the other leagues are doing, and they're in a perfect situation to take what they've seen and put it into play. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to see these athletes be driving across the country to play a game. Like if the Warriors play the set.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about driving cross country. I'm talking about within their regions, like when they go into their regions.
That makes sense. I mean, for like the California teams, like I'm sure they're not going to. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they flew to LA, like with the Warriors example. But like, I also wouldn't be shocked if they took a bus.
That's a long trip too. But I wouldn't be shocked if they take a, from the Bay to LA, it's close to about 8 hours, 7, 8 hours. So,
I mean, the thing is, most of these planes, like most of these teams, like they take a private jet, and so the only people on the jet is like the players and coaches and stuff like that. So like I don't know. I think they'll end up taking planes pretty much just as much, but the
They're
amount of
definitely going to be. They're definitely going to be flying everywhere.
yeah,
But again,
the
within the
amount
regions,
the amount of flying will be less though because they are staying in certain places longer, like the Warriors.
and a lot of times it doesn't make sense to fly from small cities to cities like that when they're not
No,
that far apart.
I mean it's like the Warriors in Sacramento. I mean, what is that? 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe even less. I don't really know how far it is.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's not more than 4 hours, I don't think, from San Francisco to Sacramento. So that's one where you could kind of see it, but that would probably still end up flying if I'm honest. Is there even an airport? What airport's next to Sacramento? I'm pretty. There's a
if they
Sacramento.
do have one, they have a small one. I don't
Yeah,
even know if they have one, to be honest.
yeah. I honestly don't know. Anyways, so with the Warriors, we saw them sign Jeremy Lin today. That'll probably. I
Was
think it
that
was
to the actual roster
no, it
or
was
to the
to the
G League?
Santa Cruz roster. So G League, the Santa Cruz Warriors. I mean, it makes sense. It gives them a point guard who they can bring up if something happens to one of their two on the roster. He has some veteran experience. There's worse options out there, I guess.
We're bringing Linsanity back.
Bringing the Lin sanity back. We're all
Fun
here.
fact: did you know he was a former Warrior?
He was on the Warriors for a brief stint, right? Did you know he is from the Bay Area?
I did, indeed.
Pretty crazy.
Welcome home, Jeremy.
Yeah. So the Warriors. I mean, did you watch any of the preseason games?
I watched. I didn't watch the Kings. But I watched. Oh my goodness,
The Nuggets.
the Nuggets.
Okay. So, I mean, what were your thoughts? Let's kind of talk about what you expect from the Warriors.
It's hard to say right now because a lot of players were on limited time and things like that. So it's not.
The players didn't even play.
Some of them didn't even play exactly. So it's hard to say, what I think or how I think they're gonna do this season. Obviously, I'm a biased fan, and even without Clay, we have Curry on the court, and it's gonna make a huge difference. We got in some. I do like our free agent acquisitions this year, and some of the the players that we brought onto the team are, I think, going to play some really vital roles, and it's going to be interesting. Kelly Oubre is going to be one of those guys that he's going to be. He's going to be one of those type of guys that we don't really pay a whole lot of attention to because we're so used to the stars, but he can make a huge impact for the team. So I'm interested in seeing. Say it again.
You're talking about Kelly Oubre?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I was reading an article last night how the Warriors are really going to rely on him for defensive purposes. How like when they go into press, like the 4 possessions or however many possessions a game they do, he's going to be the on-ball presser. He's going to be the one up court pressing him because he's a guy who can at times move like a guard, but still has a wingspan. So
yeah, because he's quick. He's fast.
He's definitely quick. And I mean, he was even talking about it yesterday, how like he's like, I feel like I can stay up with the guards. He's like, it's one thing if I have to do it the whole game, but for like the 8 possessions a game, like I'm fully ready to shut them down.
That's right.
Which is like, I mean, I'm pumped. I mean, I think you like Kelly Oubre.
Those exact words, I'm fully ready to shut them down.
I don't know his exact words.
Did he say shut them down? As long as I heard those, that's why that pumps me up.
I don't want to say like he did or didn't. I'm not sure. He said something
cool. Well, I hope that's what he said.
Yeah. But I think Kelly Oubre is coming into this Warriors team with the right mindset. He's not coming in thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a star. I need to be a star. He's coming in with a mindset like, I need to do my job. Yeah. If I do my part, if I score when I need to score, if I play my defensive role when I need to play my defensive role. And I mean, I think that's part of what
think about Andre Iguodala. When he got Finals MVP that season, he came in, and not that he was necessarily a full-on role player because he was a starter for the team, but in a sense, his role was to play D.
And I think and make the shot when he needed to. Like he'd make a 3 when he was open. He'd make the big like put back dunk like off the rebound. Or
occasionally, he'd have a crazy shot here and there. But all in all, he did his job.
Exactly.
And and that made him, one of the fan favorites. It got him a Finals MVP because he just worked LeBron that series,
He did.
and it was like it was huge, and it was, in my opinion, one of those kind of defining moments to where everybody's expecting one of these like superstar players to get the Finals MVP, and then you
Yeah.
see Andre Iguodala, one of our just defensive role players, taking the MVP in the Finals.
I mean,
Like
to
that
be
was huge.
fair, he
So
was
it
like,
kind of goes to show that role players are still important pieces to every team.
oh, I think everyone knows that. Like, you can have the stars, but and this is in any sport, you can have the stars, but if you have no players around them, you're not going to win. I mean, look at the Angels in baseball. Like, they have Mike Trout, one of the best baseball players to ever play, and they barely even make the playoffs some years. Most years they don't because they have nobody around them.
Yeah, well, baseball is a little different. There's a lot more people on the field. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, but I was just making the thing that in
Oh
any
yeah.
sport, you need people outside of your stars. Your stars alone won't get you there.
Well, not everybody's going to be a star. So yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Oubre we might see slide into that Andre Iguodala role, and I think he could do it. The
Yeah.
defensive guy who, I mean, I think that's the upside we're looking
I
towards.
don't know if I've for some reason, not that I wasn't a fan of Kelly Oubre, but I wasn't a fan of his attitude when he first came into the league.
He was a young kid though.
Yeah,
Like,
I know that.
there's a lot of people who have bad attitudes when they first come in. You see them mature and change over time.
Exactly. So
And I
what
mean,
I'm trying to say before I got cut off again was that he's definitely matured, and I'm interested in seeing how he develops this season. I've liked the comments that I've heard from him so far. I've liked kind of everything that Warriors have given us in regards to him, information. I've seen it in a positive way. I was kind of on the fence about how his attitude was going to be, but it's definitely clear that he's not, the same type of player he was like when he first came into the league.
yeah, and I mean to build off that, like even Andre Iguodala, if you looked at him before he was on the Warriors versus when he came to the Warriors, he was like a completely different person almost. Like he went from being a star of his team, like one of the better players on his team. And then he took less money and he came to the Warriors, and all of a sudden he's this like trusted veteran who's like a huge part of the team.
Yeah.
Like not to take away from what like Curry, Thompson, and
I don't know if I would say he was a star in Denver though.
Star might he was definitely a good player. He was one of their better players.
He was one of the better players. He was.
Was
If he had more of that star factor, I would give it to him when he was in Philadelphia.
Who was the best player on their team though at that time when he was in Denver?
They didn't really have anybody.
Exactly.
Denver didn't have anybody.
He was essentially the star of that team though because of that. That's kind of what I was getting at with saying he's a star. I know he wasn't like a massive superstar.
So he was the best player on their team, and I will agree with that statement. I will say I felt like he was the best player on their team at the time.
Yeah, so now that's kind of where I got star from. I mean, he's not a superstar by any means, but he was a star for them. Even the bad teams got to have their stars, right? So I'm excited for this Warriors season. I'm hopeful. Do you know who the Warriors play opening day? I'll look it up right now.
It is, if I'm not mistaken, is it KD and the Nets? Or is that Christmas Day?
I think that's Christmas Day.
I thought Giannis was Christmas Day.
They do open against the Nets.
Yeah, they open against the Nets, and we got Giannis on Christmas Day.
Okay, that'll be interesting. KD and Kyrie. That's going to be a good team. I mean, Brooklyn's going to be good. It's hard to be bad with Kyrie and KD, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in Brooklyn, aside from KD and Kyrie. I don't know how I feel so much about Kyrie anymore.
But see, the thing is, next to KD, Kyrie doesn't have to be a superstar. Kyrie can just play point guard.
And I think he finally found that out. That I think he really thought that he was like the guy, like, and not that he's not a superstar, because he is.
Yeah,
but it's just I don't know. They put him around a good team in Boston, and he still couldn't pull it off. And in my opinion, when he went to Boston, his mindset, I don't know, but it was a little more on I gotta show that I can be the main guy on this team, kind of a
He
thing.
wanted to break out of LeBron's
Shadow,
whatever shell. Yeah, that's a good word for it. He wanted to break out of LeBron's
but
shell. He wanted to figure
yeah,
that out.
I don't know. I think it was a little bit in his own head because I don't see LeBron as like that type of a selfish person to
No,
try to keep that from KD.
it was probably
So,
fans.
or I mean, from Kyrie.
If you think about it, the fans probably got to him because I mean, imagine anybody who plays with LeBron for the most part. I think Anthony Davis might be one of the, and other than the like Heat team, like with Dwayne Wade, but like a lot of people were like, "Oh, like you only won because LeBron. LeBron carried you." And
Yeah.
there was probably part of that got to Kyrie, and Kyrie was like, "No, we won because like I won. Like I didn't win because of LeBron." Not to take anything away from LeBron and those teams. I mean, they were a good team. They beat a really good Warriors team.
Well, not only that though, it was known as LeBron and the Cavaliers.
Exactly. So he wanted to go to Boston to kind of make a name for himself outside of being, I don't want to say LeBron's sidekick, but in a sense, he wanted to not be LeBron's sidekick. He wanted to be known for more. So he went to
And
Boston.
now he's back to a sidekick.
But I think he's more matured now, and I think he knows and he wants to win. I think that's what matters to him more now.
Yes, I will agree with that. And I think it's about time that he finally matured.
And I mean, Katie and Kyrie can be a nasty combo. They really, really can. Because we've seen Kyrie at his peak where he can just do whatever he wants offensively. Like, he's
a great ball player. It's going to be interesting. This season, not this season, but this past few seasons kind of shown, that just one superstar on the team sometimes it's just not enough anymore.
Yep.
Teams have 2 to 3, superstar caliber players on their teams now, and you're gonna need a little more than just being a one-man army.
Okay, so you ready to move on to football?
Let's do it.
So just
can't lie to you though.
Go for it. Jacob had a rough week in fantasy football last week, guys. It's okay.
I have been doing amazing in fantasy football all season long until last week. I hit the epic downfall. I made playoffs in all 4 of my leagues. 3 out of the 4 I got eliminated.
I made the playoffs in all 3 of my leagues, and I'm still in the playoffs in all 3 of my leagues.
It won't be long. You got me this week. You won't be long.
Ooh, I am playing Jacob in one league this week. Dude, so yesterday I was talking to Jacob, and I was like, man, we have so many people in this Saints-Chiefs game. Because I had Taysom Hill. Oh, wait, he got benched today for Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. I had Michael Thomas. I had Michael Thomas in a different league, so that doesn't matter. But I lost Michael Thomas and Taysom Hill this morning. I was bummed out. Yep. Dude, I'm starting – I think I might start Trubisky against you.
That'll be fun. I hope you do. That will be fun.
Oh, I mean, Chicago's playing Minnesota, and Minnesota's had no pass defense, and Trubisky's been a little hot since he got back. So I think I'm going to do it. It'll be
unless you're starting Allen Robinson, it doesn't even matter. The offense doesn't matter at all.
Hey, I started Trubisky last week for me in a 2-quarterback league, and he dropped 30 points. So he may have used all his good game last week.
I'm just telling you, it's going to be a rough outing for you this week, buddy. Oh yeah. Water bet.
Okay, let's get it. You actually won the water bet we had last week. T. Higgins versus Giovanni Bernard because Giovanni fumbled and then got benched. Hard to win a water bet when your player got benched.
Wow.
So
good thing I didn't pick up the slack in his absence.
What's up?
Who was the running back that picked up the slack in his absence since Mixon was out, right?
P. Ryan did.
The other P. Ryan.
Mixon is back to practice today.
Yeah, the other P. Ryan took over. I can't remember his first name.
I have Joe Mixon back in two leagues, but I don't think I'm starting him in either this week, even if he plays. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to the Cincinnati game. First game is Buffalo versus Denver. Who are you taking?
Whew. I honestly think it's gonna be a good game. I think though, I do think that the Buffalo's gonna take the game.
Mm-hmm. I definitely. Can you hear me still? Do I sound?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, but
farther away.
But Denver's showing to have a little bit of promise and a little bit of fight in them. And, it's almost for nothing now for them, but it's all right. I still think that Buffalo's got a lot more to play for right now. And they need this victory right now. They need it.
I mean, so you're talking about Buffalo and Denver?
Yep.
Yeah, Denver has just looked bad. Their quarterback situation is not good. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about Denver. I'm taking Buffalo all the way. Josh Allen and that team, they look a lot better. It just is what it is. Next game is Carolina versus Green Bay. I'll take this one first. I'm going Green Bay all the way because as bad as Denver is, they beat Carolina last week. So if you agree Denver's pretty bad, what does that make Carolina?
Well, as we all know, McCaffrey's going to be out again.
You're taking Carolina? Great. Move on.
And and it hurts because that was one of the guys I traded for, and I did not even get to use him. I used him one time, and he sat on my bench the rest of the season. Fantastic.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. So he's probably going to get shut down. I would imagine so. I don't see any reason for them to keep playing him at the moment. I know he's one of those type of guys that you can't just keep him off the field because of how good he is and because of, the type of player he is. He always wants to be out there. But, yeah, I wouldn't risk it anymore. Somehow, some way, unless something changed or it was mistaken, I just seen that Carolina still can magically make the playoffs somehow, which
– Are they in the NFC or AFC?
NFC.
Oh, that's why. The AFC is stacked right now.
Yeah, AFC is super stacked right now. NFC is just
–
other than a few teams. But yeah, so it's a long shot. I don't see them making the playoffs. And if they lose this game, they for sure need to shut them down. And I am going to take Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to beat my Carolina Panthers. And I'm closing my eyes when I say that because I can't believe myself.
That was a very long-winded way to say your team sucks. But
yeah.
Next game is Houston versus Indianapolis. We saw the Houston Texans get smacked last week by the Chicago Bears, and I honestly think Indianapolis is like a better version of the Bears. Their defense is just as good, and their offense is much better. I'm going Indianapolis. You still there? Hello, buddy?
I am still here. It's just there are a ton of sirens outside of my home right now, so I wanted to mute my mic for a moment. What can you please tell me the two teams again?
Yes, the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. I picked the Colts because the Texans got beat really bad by the Bears last week, and I think the Colts are a better version of the Bears.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the Colts are a better team right now. They are on a little bit of a hot streak, and they had a monster game last week. Monster game.
Yeah, that they did. That's all I'm going to say about that game.
I know.
I don't talk about it. The Raiders were 6-3 and had the easiest schedule in the league remaining, and since then have gone 1-4.
Nice.
That's all I got to say.
Nice.
I have nothing else to say, guys. Nothing else to say. So, are you picking Colts? Texans?
Yes. Yeah. Clearly.
I mean, you didn't say anything, so
I did. I thought I did say that.
Next game is Detroit versus Tennessee. I've been on the Tennessee bandwagon all year, and that's not stopping against the.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence about them sometimes, but I just don't see Detroit pulling this one out.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go Tennessee. There's a whole lot going on in Detroit, and they're just not. I really want to see.
DeAndre Swift is back this week, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, fantasy-wise, I'm sure. But
starting him in one.
Real-life game, I don't think it's going to get him a victory. So I'm not going with Detroit.
Okay. Next game is the Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings offense has been on a real hot streak as of late. The Bears offense has been on a hot streak ever since Trubisky's taken over. Their defense is still looking good. I'm taking Bears because I think I'm starting Trubisky in 2 leagues, and I need
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
I am going to go opposite. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings.
I totally understand that pick. Kirk Cousins and that
offense. It's a divisional matchup for them too, as well, isn't it?
Yes. Are they in the
So
same?
these, if
Yeah,
I'm
they
not
are.
mistaken, I believe it is. These two teams are gonna. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle.
For
You
sure.
know, it's gonna be a good game to watch, no matter what. Even if there's not high scoring or if it's super high scoring, it's gonna be a great game because it's just gonna be. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a war out there.
Yep. Next game. This one's gonna get a little interesting. So it might not sound interesting, but it is. It's the Seattle Seahawks against the Washington football team. Mind you, the
Don't
Washington
sleep. Don't sleep on the football team right now.
football team's won 4 in a row.
Don't sleep
But
on the football team right now.
they are without Alex Smith, and Dwayne Haskins will be their starter this week. So they are down Antonio Gibson and Alex Smith now. Does that change your outlook on them?
Yikes.
So for me, this is how I'm looking at it. So the Washingtons won those games because of defense, right? Their defense.
Oh yeah, their defense is top 5 right now.
Dude, yeah. Chase Young might be one of the best defensive ends in the league as a rookie. Like, that dude's an animal on the field, like an absolute beast, right? His quote from Mike Tomlin's quote about him still cracks me up to this day. I never want to be so bad to get a player like you. That's so funny to me still. But so we just saw Seattle get shut down 2 weeks ago by the Giants, who definitely don't have as good of a defense as Washington. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is that bad. And I think against a bad Seattle secondary, Dwayne Haskins might actually be better than Alex Smith because he'll push the ball downfield. So I mean, dude, if you have Scary Terry in fantasy football, this is a smash play this week in my mind.
You think so?
I think so, dude. Scary.
I'm a little nervous about the Haskins, taking over.
I wouldn't start Haskins, but Scary Terry, I would be all over Terry McLaurin.
I know Alex Smith takes a lot of heat for not throwing deep balls, but he's a very good passer, and
he's been very good.
And under 20 yards, he's very accurate.
He's very accurate past 20 yards. He just doesn't push the ball downfield often.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I think
I'm a little bit worried that Haskins is going to try to, make those big plays and make things happen. And it's just not going to happen because in the end, I think they're going to have to. Like I unless they can do some magic like the Giants did, which is possible because their defense is killing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm still going to take Seattle.
Okay. So, one thing I forgot to say at the beginning is I caught up 1 game on you from last week, so now I'm only 3 games behind. So I need to make up some games.
Okay.
So I'm taking Washington here. I gotta
on
my side. I gotta
start taking some risks right now.
Start taking some risks. Some of my risks paid off last week, not all of them. Definitely not all of them. Stafford against the Packers was an L.
Mm-hmm.
But you miss your shots you don't take, right? Next, we have the Patriots versus the Dolphins. The Patriots are a weird team this year. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, they are. Sometimes they're like playing lights out, and sometimes they're.
But I'm gonna follow.
Literally, the lights are out.
I'm gonna follow Belichick doesn't lose to rookie quarterbacks, and I'm gonna take the Patriots.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Miami's one of those teams who are up and coming, in my opinion. The defense is pretty good this year. I just don't know if they're going to pull it out against Belichick. Exactly, that's the thing. Against the Patriots is I don't know. It's going to be a rough one. You just went where? New England?
Yeah, because New England doesn't lose to rookie quarterbacks.
They don't.
Just like we saw them dismantle the Chargers like 45-0 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting the Patriots defense in the league just because it's a rookie quarterback.
Yep. And oh man, I almost want to say Miami, but I'm too scared to.
Okay, Jacob's taking Miami. Next game, Jacksonville versus.
Leave it. Let's do it. No, I can't go against my boy Cam. Put him.
Oh my!
Yeah, sorry.
I can't believe you picked Carolina and England today.
I can't go against my guy Cam.
Okay, cool. You picking Carolina over Green Bay? Sounds great. Next game, Jacksonville. No, you saw Green Bay in there. Next game is the Jacksonville Jags against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have looked hot. The Jags looked not. So I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, it's hard to pick the Jags when they haven't even won many games altogether.
They have one win.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going Baltimore.
Okay, next game is Tampa Bay against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going Tampa Bay here. The Atlanta Falcons just aren't good.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons need some work. I don't know what happened to them. You know, they had a lot of hype going into the season because
Julio
they
Jones
brought
hasn't
in.
been healthy.
What's that?
Honestly, Julio Jones hasn't been healthy. That's kind of what it falls
And I
down to.
believe he just got ruled out.
Yeah, he did. I
I
have him
believe
on
he
a
just got ruled out, and we all know the rule: with no Julio,
Julio 11. You don't start Matt Ryan when Julio Jones is out. And apparently, you don't pick the Falcons either. So are you taking Tampa?
I'm taking Tampa as much as I don't want to.
Next game is the
Tampa's the team in my division that I dislike the most. I
For
don't
me,
know why.
For me,
It's always been that way.
I've disliked the Chiefs before they were good, before Mahomes was even there.
I've disliked Tampa Bay since birth. So
Yeah, no, that's how I feel about the Chiefs. Next game is the San Francisco 49ers against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking the 49ers. The Cowboys offense has looked much improved over the past couple weeks,
they have.
but I still think the Niners are better. So
But the Niners have also improved over the last few weeks.
I wouldn't say
Though, yeah, I think. I mean, they're a better team than they were in the beginning of the season. That's for sure.
Deebo Samuel's out. Kittle's still not back. Mostert might be hurt.
Wait, is Kittle not returning this week?
No, he is not.
Ooh, weren't they talking about him possibly returning? Not.
He's come back from the medical IR, which means he could practice, but they have 21 days. So he's highly unlikely to play this week.
Yeah, they might as well shut him down too.
Honestly, it'll probably depend if they win or lose this week. They're not out of the playoffs yet. That's why he's back.
Yeah, same thing with Caffrey. It'll probably depend if they win or lose this week. I'm also going to take the 49ers on this one. I don't
start picking some opposite of me.
Yeah, well, I'm just going who I really think is going to win. That's the thing. So
okay.
I'm not going to pick opposite when I don't think they're going to win.
See, I have to. Next is Philadelphia Eagles against the Arizona Cardinals. And mind you, the Jalen Hurts led Philadelphia Eagles that looked much improved last week.
Yes.
Where are you going on this game?
That was an interesting experience. And did you see the meme of of Carson Wentz getting stared down?
I did not.
Not by Hurts is standing next to Peterson, right?
Yeah, I saw. I remember it. And Wentz is just looking for me. I
Looking
heard there was a rumor on Twitter that Sean Payton said he thinks he can fix Wentz, and that might be an offseason target for them if Breeze retires.
I think that's a good idea for them.
There's no way they can afford him, dude. They're $100 million over the cap. So unless they can magically make up a ton of money, I don't know. I think if the Saints get him, it'll show how much of a myth the NFL salary cap is, because they're already $100 million over the limit.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, though, at the end of this season, there was something going on that's possibly going to raise the cap.
Yes, but I don't.
So it might, and if Drew Brees retires, they might be able to, make up some of that to enough. And he, a lot of players, especially when they're, like that, like where Wentz is supposed to be real good and he just hasn't been, they'll take a pay cut, in order to be on a better situation sometimes. So
he might. I think
it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure.
I think you see that among veteran players who've made their money more. Wentz hasn't really made that much money yet. Granted, he has the big contract. He has a lot of money coming his way, but generally you want to get paid out your first contract. Anyways, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Kyler Murray
Second contract you want to get paid out.
Okay, Jalen.
First contract's your rookie contract.
Yeah, okay. I meant first big. That's what I meant to ask. Granted, his rookie contract was still probably pretty big. I'm going to take Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They looked really good. The Eagles' defense is better than the Cardinals' defense in my eyes, and Kyler Murray hasn't looked healthy. So I'm going to go.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about doing the same thing because the Cardinals just have not been the same. They started off really hot. You kind of cut out there.
Oh, Kenyon Drake is heating up, so that's my concern.
Yeah, but at the same time, Kenyon Drake is, he has his moments, but he hasn't been He hasn't been a wow factor, if you really ask me, this season.
Yeah.
Even when he has been healthy, he had maybe like a couple games that were like really, really good.
Last 2 games have been pretty good, and last year we saw him get hot at the end of the year. So I wouldn't be.
Who did the Cardinals play last week?
That's a great question. Give me a sec.
I can't remember who it was. Here's the thing. I wanted to originally pick the Eagles because
Played the Giants, who are a good defense.
did they win?
Yes, the Cardinals won.
Just to go against you, I'm gonna go Cardinals this time. I'm not sure how I feel about it though.
That game's definitely one that can go either way in my eyes.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Typically, I think if it was early on in the season, it'd be like Cardinals, no doubt. But right now I don't know.
Well, beginning of the season, there was a lot of questions about Carson Wentz too, so I would have definitely been picking the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Next game is the New York Jets versus the Los Angeles Rams. Jets still haven't won a game, so I'm not.
How do you choose the Jets? Yeah. I mean, it's like asking for a L,
You should pick them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let me pick the Jets right now. Mark me down, Brian.
Done. It says NYJ right here. Okay, next game is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New Orleans Saints. This one has huge fantasy implications for our matchup. I have Travis Kelce and Alvin Kamara. You have Mahomes and Hill and Butker, I believe.
I do.
So we have a lot of players in this game. The one good thing is Mahomes throws a lot of touchdowns to Kelce, and I have Kelce, so that should help me counteract a little bit. Hopefully more goes to Kelce and less goes to Hill. That's my
I am going to choose Kansas City because I'm going to have a hard time rooting against them if I pick the Saints, while I also have half of their roster on my fantasy team.
I'm going to actually take the Saints. I think it's going to be a shootout. I
think it might be.
Drew Brees
can be who he was.
Drew Brees is coming back. I'm hoping for a big week from Alvin Kamara.
But think about this. Even when Drew Brees wasn't hurt, before he got hurt, when he was healthy, he wasn't the same Drew Brees as last season.
Yeah, but he was good enough to win games. I mean, they lost the Raiders because the Raiders were good. Emphasis on were, because they're absolute garbage now. I mean, dude, there was 5 defensive starters out last night, so I wasn't expecting much, but they did worse than my expectations.
Like, dude, they did worse than your expectations? They took it to overtime.
That's worse than they played like garbage. The defense.
I mean,
played
really who's the backup quarterback? Cole? Was that what his name was? Or who was the guy that dropped the ball? He pretty much fumbled the ball when they were gonna try to kick that super long field goal at the very end, last second.
That was the punter.
Oh, was it the punter?
Yeah, jeez, it was a 65-yard. They would have broken an NFL record if they made that kick. So I wasn't expecting that to get made.
It's not the point. Not the point. Now they didn't even have a shot to make it.
Yeah, it was a bad snap.
Didn't even hold the ball. It was not a bad snap.
It was across his body, but we could talk about that some other day. It wasn't a perfect snap. I'm not saying it was horrendous.
It hit his hands directly. You need to bring that in. You're a professional. Bring that in.
Yeah, he's a punter. He's paid to kick.
Doesn't matter.
Anyways, next game is the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Giants. The Browns have looked hot. I'm going to roll with them.
Yeah, it's hard to go against the Browns right now, especially against a team that, although they have a good defense, they haven't been winning a whole lot either this season. So,
and their quarterback's still out. I don't think Daniel Jones is playing this week, so
there's go with the Brownies.
No reason to play them. Next game is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals might be getting Joe Mixon back, but their backup quarterback is out, so they're back to their third-string quarterback, Ryan Finley. And even if Mixon plays, I'm not even sure if he can get 30 yards with how bad.
Yeah. Yep. And we did see the Steelers drop 2 in a row, but I think this is the week where they turn it around. Yeah. Didn't they drop 2 in a row? Who did they play last week?
They played the Buffalo Bills, in which
they
won.
They won at the end? Didn't they lose that?
No.
Oh, that's tripping.
I'm a Google search it, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm definitely wrong.
I know you are. That's why.
What was I looking at?
They dropped 2 in a row. I'm telling you, they dropped 2 in a row.
Right.
But I think this is the week that they are going to bring it back. You know, we found out that the Steelers can't catch anything. What happened to these guys? They were tearing it up in the beginning of the season. These receivers are everywhere. And, you know, the thing is, there are too many receivers to depend on just one to have a blowout game. Yeah. And now none of them can even hold on to the ball anymore.
Deontay Johnson, like, can't catch all of a sudden. He has, like, 10 drops over the last 2 weeks, which is wild.
Yep.
Claypool
dropped a huge touchdown that actually would have won me one of my games.
Yeah. I have to start Deontay Johnson in 2 leagues due to Julio Jones and Michael Thomas being out. So I really hope you catch. And
you got a high ceiling, but now you got a lower floor because of all them drops. So it's going to be interesting.
He got benched last week. You don't think he'll get benched if he makes a drop? 100% he will. Anyways, that wraps up our games for this week. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 games. We picked separate teams. So we'll see how those 4 games go. It's going to be a fun week for football. Anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to remind everybody that next Friday is Christmas. So happy holidays to you and your families. Hope everyone's doing well. We wish you all the best. Hope you guys have an amazing holiday. We will continue with our virtual program through Wednesday. So we will not be here next week, guys.
We will see you in 2 weeks on that Friday. Will we?
But how about this? If we get a few people to comment on our YouTube video, hashtag Sports Talk Live, we will pre-record an episode and upload it for you guys on Wednesday.
Ooh. We could upload it on Friday still.
We can. It'll air on Friday.
On Wednesday? Okay.
But if we can get some community participation here, some, audience engagement, and if the people tell us we want sports talk, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Anyways, that is going to wrap up this week's episode. Oh, actually, just quickly to note, the San Francisco Giants signed Anthony Descalfani. He's a pitcher from the Cincinnati Reds. If you know much about the Giants and their general manager, Scott Harris, and their CEO of baseball operations, Farhan Zaidi, they love giving 1-year, $5 million contracts to high upside pitchers and flipping them at the trade deadline. That's what this deal is. It's high upside, low risk, 1-year deal. We'll see if it pays off. Just want to throw that in at the end for your little off-season baseball news. Other than that, we'll see you guys maybe next week if you comment. Otherwise, we'll see you guys.
Better comment because I want to be back.
Otherwise, we will see you guys later.
Coach Jacob, we out.